Hello, everybody. Welcome to Uncle Joe's Place. Today, we're going to have a conversation about pretty much the fascism of the pro life movement. Now, we have to understand first there are many extreme right wing, and conservative people who claim that abortion is murder. I propose that when abortion is committed, there is no soul, either injected or developed. Therefore, there is no murder. To prove that in abortion one has committed murder, you must prove empirically that there was a soul in the fetus. We have to understand that we do believe that all things have some kind of a soul, even rats and plants. However, nothing has a human soul except human persons. We have also, during prior arguments in other videos, brought forth the characteristics of a human soul, which we will quickly gloss over in a little while. We're going to kind of look at it. Now, a fetus is not capable of rational thought, which would bring us to the conclusion that a fetus does not have a human soul. We can absolutely think of it like an egg. It is not a chicken. It can become a chicken. It has all the potential. But would you ever claim to have a chicken and then show me an egg? Would you? Or would you ever buy a chicken and they give you a dozen eggs? No, it doesn't make sense. The problem is that we're arguing about irrational things that pro life fascists cannot prove. Then, when faced with logical conclusions, they fall back into the Bible. If they find that their beliefs can't be proven, then their old rational conclusions are rejected and replaced with religious assumptions. These religious assumptions are then interpreted as the will of God and forced onto other people who do not share those religious beliefs. Sometimes they don't even have religious beliefs. This then turns the pro-life movement into a real pro-fascist movement, which is where the horrors of the Crusades came, as well as the Holy Inquisition. Due to this attitude, thousands of unjust killings of walking, talking, and thinking human persons historically have happened. Defending irrational ideas that are only fantasized and interpreted assumptions from holy books by a few righteous people. This has historically taken us to horrible and inhuman positions. We have to dig into the essential question, which is what proves the existence of a human person? Well, the most basic proof of a human person is the capability to analyze complex problems, find complex or simple solutions, and be able to share these solutions through the use of complex language, as well as to have complex emotions. Also, the ability to communicate and work through those emotions using complex language and solutions. Today, science has taught us that when the brain malfunctions at a certain percentage, the soul either cannot connect or express anymore. It is at this time that we call it brain dead, and the human person is considered legally defunct. He or she is considered then to be a vegetable whose only option is just to let them go, is the most humane option. If we follow the same trajectory backward, then below a certain percentage of brain growth, the soul either can't begin to express itself or it's not there. Now, think, why would a soul be parked waiting like a taxi cab, waiting to see if the brain will develop or not, as if it was an empty taxi or an Uber car waiting for their driver, or vice versa? Either way, there's no driver. Therefore, it cannot be considered a human person. It's not a complete unit. To believe that a body with no evidence of a soul is a human person makes as much sense as believing you can run a horse race without a jockey. This reminds me of the idea of limbo, where supposedly, a long time ago, God would deposit human souls that had not been baptized, because religious authorities did not have the answer to what happens to an unbaptized baby. In time, a more rational answer was adopted, which is that probably God gives entrance into heaven to all innocent souls. That would make more sense. Now, based on this line of thinking, I have a question. If you really believe that all fetuses have a soul, and also that all innocents go to heaven, and your ultimate goal is to get to heaven, why are you worried about other people's babies? In God's eyes, it is their responsibility, not yours, and all innocent babies are going to go to heaven, so what's your problem? Even in the and let's go back. Even in the tradition of Christ's birth, God talked with Mary about permission, not to Joseph. He just told Joseph, hey, don't back out, support the baby, etc. But it was Mary that gave permission. Now, I have presented the concept of human person, right, as the litmus test, which I'm sure by now most of us have been getting ready for if we're ever going to consider AI or any other organism as a person. Why would a human be exempt from this test just because he or she has human genes? I say this is the test for human persons, and a fetus cannot pass this test, nor can a machine at this time, nor a person in a vegetative state. Consequently, a fetus is not a person. Though it might be human, it is not a person. There are no signs of a driver. Figuratively speaking, it's just an empty cab, waiting for its passenger to either develop or be inserted. It does not even meet the legal description of a person. So any other argument you can come up with are based on Holy Scriptures, which are, those interpretations are flawed because it depends on the author. You will find places where God is willing to sacrifice 2-year-olds. Why? Because back then, possibly, in the writer's time, that is the age in which they thought God implanted a soul, because that's the age in which the baby started expressing as a person. There are other scriptures in which God implants the soul at the moment of birth, but they're not consistent. Historically, it has been proven that when we base our judgments on the Holy Scriptures, we end up with egg on our faces. The Bible was not meant to solve real life problems, but rather to be a guideline for wisdom, goodness, and love, such as the fables of Aesop. I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, but we're certainly not going to use a witch doctor to perform surgery when we use the Bible to face our problems in the 20th century. That's what we're doing. This is exactly what pro-life, and shall we say now, pro-fascist movements are doing. They're forcing their own personal unfounded religious beliefs as law, without any real empirical evidence of what they claim. No one is forcing them to take part in abortion, but they have no moral, ethical, or rational arguments to force others into their own personal religious beliefs. In conclusion, the fetus is not a human person in any way, shape, or stretch of the imagination. Pro-life groups are in essence pro-fascist groups forcing their unfounded religious beliefs on others. Now, this concludes my talk for today. I hope that you guys find this helpful. Make comments as to, what you think about this or what other talks you would like to hear or see. And I will try to follow your guideline. Otherwise, just please, if you have a chance, if you find this useful, press the like, follow, etc. so we can continue producing more content like this for you guys. Have a great day. See you later from Uncle Joe's Place.